had symptoms of NETs or neuroendocrine cancer for greater than 20 years. I had symptoms that were quite traumatic, largely to do with my gastrointestinal tract. I had every diagnosis that you can think of to do with my insides, and in fact ended up having a very experimental surgery some years ago where they decided, in order to try and slow down this process of constant diarrhea in my system, which was to remove over 1 meter of my small intestine, turn it around, put it back in to slow down the system. Eventually, it twisted on itself. I got necrosis, and in an emergency op, that was removed. And then I went back into my normal life of dealing with the day-to-day effects of, I presume, carcinoid syndrome and always having an upset stomach. Finally, I went for a scan. That was just over a year ago. The scan showed initially one tumor about 50 millimeters in the lung, and I found a second tumor in the adrenal gland, or on the adrenal gland. In the first 20 years, I lost track of how many doctors I saw. Literally, it was dozens. Many of them involved in the investigative procedures and the diagnostic procedures they do. Each time you see another doctor, and each time they've got another theory, and you get desperate in the end, I guess, because you've just been through this before. They ask all the same questions. They never give you another answer. You always end up going away thinking, well, they just don't know. And looking back now, the times where it was wasted, sitting in hospital waiting rooms, having procedures that were unbelievably uncomfortable and invasive. If a gastroenterologist, for example, had a checklist that said, well, I've got to the bottom of my normal gastroenterologist problems. If I still don't know, let's send the man for a scan and see if he's got neuroendocrine cancer.